Hi, my name is the Reverend Lisa, and I'm here today to discuss the facts about same-sex marriage. So the purpose of this presentation is to define terms: marriage, solemnization, marriage license, civil marriage and civil union, domestic partnership, and we're going to discuss domestic partnership versus legal marriage. We'll also discuss the division between church and state, and of course, an update on Proposition 8 and where we are now.
Hi, Jesse.
Hi, Grover.
How you?
Fine.
Good. I have a question for you.
What is it?
Well, you know what marriage is?
A marriage is when two people get married.
Yeah, that's good. That's marriage. What else is it when they get married? Then what do they do when they're married?
Kiss.
They kiss, yes. What else when they're married?
Hug.
Hug, that's good. That's good. Anything else?
Nope.
That's it?
Yep.
Well, they live together. They help each other, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Yeah. Because they see each other every day.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's important to help each other.
Yeah.
Are they friends also?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot in the marriage, isn't it? Kissing, hugging,
Yep.
friends, helping, all that stuff. Yeah. Well, I guess that's what marriage is about.
Yep.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
So, what is marriage? Well, it's said that marriages are made in heaven and celebrated on earth. The popular belief is true in many extents because it is the physical, mental, and spiritual union of two souls. It brings significant stability and substance to the human relationship, which otherwise would be incomplete. This definition suggests that marriage is a spiritual endeavor with religious foundations. While the concept of marriage remains the same across the globe, the way we solemnize it differs extensively, and these differences are based in the foundations of religious beliefs. Here in the United States, we have founded our entire country on religious freedom. Now, for the most part, religious traditions in the world reserve marriage to heterosexual unions, but there are exceptions, including the Unitarian Universalist Church, the Metropolitan Community Church, the Quaker Church, the United Church of Canada, the United Church of Christ, and the Reformed Jewish congregations. And there are some Anglican dioceses that have also begun to embrace same-sex marriages. So the state believes that marriage is non-spiritual or secular, and the state views marriage as strictly a secular relationship, and it is looked upon as a privileged business enterprise. Now, this enterprise has various tax advantages and other political privileges, which have become attached to the marriage license contract itself, and they have nothing to do with marriage as a religious covenant or a bond between God, man, and woman. The marriage license itself is secular, and it's a contract between parties and the state. The state is the principal party, and the husband and wife are the secondary or inferior parties. So what does it mean to solemnize? Well, that's a big word, and in Christianity it means to celebrate or observe with rites or formal ceremonies as a religious occasion. But as far as the state or the law is concerned, it means to celebrate or perform a ceremony of marriage. So to solemnize means that we speak vows or words of commitment that promise each other that we're going to stay married. So what exactly is a marriage license? And why do we need one? Well, prior to the 1920s, a marriage license itself was used as a way to regulate interracial marriages. But in 1923, the government saw it as like a really great way to track people and to get some additional tax revenue. So the federal government established the Uniform Marriage and Marriage License Act. Well, by 1929, every state in the Union had adopted marriage license laws. So a marriage license is a document issued by the state authorizing a couple to marry. The requirement for a marriage license in the United States has been justified on the basis that the state has an overriding right on the behalf of its citizens and in the interest of the larger social welfare to protect the citizens from disease and improper or illegal marriages, and of course to keep accurate records. So what exactly is a civil ceremony or a civil marriage? A civil ceremony is a non-religious ceremony normally performed by a judge or other legal official. Now, heterosexual couples have been getting married in civil ceremonies for nearly a century. Civil ceremonies, after all, have the same rights and benefits because, as you remember, the state sees marriage as a privileged business enterprise. So a civil union gives a same-sex couple the same rights that a heterosexual couple enjoys without actually calling the union a marriage. Now, since the year 2000, Connecticut, New Jersey, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Washington, D.C., Illinois, Delaware, and soon to be Hawaii have all begun to embrace same-sex civil unions. However, the federal government does not recognize civil unions, and the states are not obligated to recognize them either under the U.S. Defense of Marriage Act, or DOMA. Now, as we all know, President Obama has withdrawn from defending DOMA, but to date, the law still remains active on the books. A domestic partnership. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. A domestic partnership is a legal or personal relationship between two individuals who live together and share a common domestic lifestyle, but are neither joined by marriage or civil union. Domestic partnerships are based out of the common marriage law and affords the couple most, but not all, the same rights, protections, and benefits, and shall be subject to the same responsibilities, obligations, and duties under the law that are required in a legal marriage. Even though the scope of California's domestic partnerships still does not provide all of the rights and responsibilities that are common to marriage, it is now difficult to distinguish California domestic partnerships with civil unions that are offered in the other states. The state of Oregon, Washington, Nevada, and California all offer domestic partnerships which are equivalent to marriage. The terminology for domestic partnerships is still evolving, and the exact level of rights and responsibilities conferred by a domestic partnership varies widely from state to state. California's domestic partnership law has recently been expanded and is now one of the most comprehensive domestic partnership laws in the country. Although the program enjoys a broad support here in California, it has been the source of some controversy. Groups opposed to the recognition of same-sex families have actually challenged the expansion of domestic partnership in court. And the advocates of same-sex marriage contend that anything that's less than full marriage rights is simply reinventing the racial laws that we experienced during the Jim Crow era. They feel that civil unions and their equivalent domestic partnerships are the epitome of separate but equal. And the very fact of having a different name implies a totally different status. Now let's talk a little bit about domestic partnership and compare it to legal marriage. While domestic partners receive most of the same benefits of marriage, there are several differences. And these differences include the couples must be living together which is of course not required in a legal marriage. In a domestic partnership, they have to be over 18 years of age. And of course, within a legal marriage, people under 18 can get married with parental consent. And there is no confidentiality in domestic partnership. But in legal marriage, the partners have a choice between a public license and a confidential license. In domestic partnership, domestic partners are not eligible for long-term care insurance under the state of California. And domestic partnerships are not recognized outside of the United States, which is not so with legal marriage. As a matter of fact, domestic partnerships are not recognized within the states in most cases. Domestic partnership has absolutely no federal benefits, no Social Security, no retirement. Now, legal marriage has full federal benefits.